Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading, and today is November 25th, 2024, and today is Monday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, waking up this morning, all of a sudden you see the Dow Jones futures just gapping up and making new all-time record highs. But first, looking at today's major economic events, nothing scheduled. So looking at the market, starting out with the Forex symbols, the euro and the British pound do test their lows versus the US dollar. And looking at the indices, the Dow Jones, obviously new record highs. The NASDAQ pivots higher as well. Now looking at commodities, we saw gold have a bounce that took 50% of that major sell-off. And now it's selling off again, which was to be anticipated. Now looking at natural gas, also pushing higher. Now when we look at the stocks specifically, the bank stocks have been super strong almost across the board. That includes JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and the other major financial institutions. Now looking lastly at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin did not hit 100K, but it is teasing us at that upper limit. So let's take over the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we go first with the Euro USD. Now it's a bounce. We did get that bounce after it breached 103. And that means it's almost gone 1,000 pips, at least 700 to 800 pips since its high of 111-ish level down to 103.90-ish level, which is a tremendous retracement. I mean, it almost hit 112. So, looking at it right now, okay, we are getting that bounce. But the question is whether or not this is a dead cat bounce because the U.S. markets are still going north. And that means this may still kind of challenge itself on this downside. And GBP also did retrace as well. We're looking at a weekly chart, but didn't retrace to its 123 level. So showing some more strength vis-a-vis the euro versus the dollar. Now looking at the Japanese yen, it stalled. It hasn't gone further down. So this may be at a stalling point. It might be just the euro overextending itself. Now, looking at the commodities. Gold, this is what I'm talking about. We had that 50% bounce. It went a little bit more than 50%, but it did hit that level of 2,700, and once it hit that level, it retraced to 2,672, which is about 30 points. Not a big deal, but a retracement nonetheless. Okay, now looking at crude oil, not doing much here at 70, really very consolidated between the 66 and $70 a barrel. Now looking at natural gas, though, pushing higher, and this morning we got a nice gap up, so this may test itself on its upper limit again. Now this thing hasn't seen more than $3.50 since 2022. So if we do see a further breakout, this might be a very, very interesting move. And natural gas really has a lot of oomph for its size. Now looking at the US markets, Dow Jones, this is what I'm talking about, had a big gap up this morning. 44,635. If we look at a daily chart, you can see we hit all-time record highs. So we're not blasting through it. We're not going 1,000 points through it, but it's new highs. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And now looking at the NASDAQ, didn't break to new highs, but it did gap up and showing some strength. Now, what am I talking about when I'm talking about the financial institutions? Let's take a look at JP Morgan on its record highs at 248. If you look at Bank of America, also on its highs. And if I take you all the way to Goldman Sachs, which is at the end of all this here. Okay, Goldman Sachs also on its record highs at 602, which is a super stock, okay, on its upside. So all the major financial institutions in the U.S. really doing very, very strong. Whereas if I look at Amazon, not doing so much, right? If I look at Tesla, it did retrace a little bit, but it's relatively strong. Okay, so it's stock specific, but the bank sector is very strong. Okay, now lastly, I want to take a look at Netflix because that showed some strength last week into these highs. So yeah, there's still some tremendous strength in the markets, so keep that in mind. We are going into a holiday week, so there's be a lot of choppiness this week. People may be taking off already as the Thanksgiving holiday does come in the United States next week. Now lastly, I want to take a look at Bitcoin as that teased us on the upper side, just shy of 100K, okay, but didn't touch it, right? Came very close to it, 99,500, but didn't break above it as was anticipated last Friday. May still do it today, okay? So keep that in mind. I mean, it's just gone orbital, but keep it at keep it for its face value because it's a momentum stock. It's a momentum asset. Excuse me. It's not something that moves with more technical. It's something that moves more momentum wise. So just, keep it on your radar. Okay. The reason I'm saying keep it on your radar because it could really retrace here as well. So that's something to consider. This is Fed Razak. Want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.